Thank y'all for tapping into Yo Cuz podcast, man. Y'all know who it is. It's Cuz back on the 1 and 2. Listen, man, I'm tuning in early. PSA, you hear me? Trump say he's not playing with nobody. Trump say he's not playing with nobody. But the first thing I want to do, I'm going to give all my shout outs to all my subscribers, all my YouTube family, and my team, and my supporters, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz podcast. I apologize about last night. I was a little under the weather, but now I'm back with another banger because y'all is not going to believe what's about to go down in Uncle Trump house. Make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and drop a comment out of this episode because this one is definitely lit. Stay tuned. Let's get it.
Must be something big happening, huh? You all set? Well, thank you very much. It's a great day for me because I have a lot of confidence in this gentleman. And we're thrilled to swear in our new Secretary of Homeland Security, a great American patriot, to put it mildly, Mark Wayne Mullen. And I want to just say, Mark Wayne, congratulations. Great. Thank you, sir. You deserve it. You're a great man. Let me also thank Secretary Mullen's beautiful family, including his wife, Christy. Thank you. His sons, Jim and Jace and Andrew, and daughters, Lara, Ivy, Lynette, and other members of the Mullen family. It's a beautiful family. And we know this guy. He's our big top wrestling guy. I won't wrestle him for anything. An all-American wrestler, huh? Good. You have good genetics in that family. Proud of you. Thanks as well to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Chairman Jason Smith, Congressman Josh Gottheimer, former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, and many other friends that are gathered with us. It's a great group of people. For 13 years, Mark Wayne has represented the incredible state of Oklahoma, a state that I won 77 out of 77 counties 3 times in a row, so they like me there. Second was Ronald Reagan at 56. Did you know that? 56, that's not bad. But 77, it's 77 out of 77, I think, right? That's not bad. But he was there in Congress as a member of the House and then as an outstanding United States Senator. And he really has been outstanding. He's been a close and vital partner in helping us secure the border, stop migrant crime, end the scourge of illegal drugs, and make America safe again and make America great again. And he's a tremendous player. He worked with Tom Homan, worked with all of our people on the right, and many more. And everything he's done has been good. I say everything he touched, he's turned to gold. Now, but even in business, he was successful, in all fairness. And he was successful, and he said, I want to go into politics. I hope you're happy. But as the only Native American, I didn't know that, huh? Let me look at you. Well, I think that's all right. He's got great quality, I can tell you. He's the only Native American in the Senate. How many have been there before you? Do you know? Native American? I think 3. Well, you're a fantastic representative. Mark Wayne has also been a fantastic advocate for our cherished tribal communities. He's now the first member of the Cherokee Nation ever to serve as a member of the cabinet. I didn't know all these things. I would have picked him faster if I had known. I would have made a quicker decision. Prior to his career in public service, Mark Wayne had a very successful career in business, leaving school at age 20 after his father got sick, taking over his family business and turning it into a multi-million-dollar success story. He's a very successful guy. Mark Wayne has also a career as an MMA fighter. That's why I looked at his ears and I said, I'm not going to fight with him. You can tell a lot about a person by their ears, right? During which he went totally undefeated. He was undefeated during his career, and he's been inducted into the Oklahoma Wrestling Hall of Fame. And the family is made of fantastic wrestlers, especially that guy right there. That's my favorite guy, huh? And suffered bad injury and come back stronger than ever, I think. So good to have you, man, right? I have no doubt that as he takes the helm of DHS, Mark Wayne will fight for Homeland Security, the United States, and securing the country and making it really strong and the way it should be. Our country's come a long way in the last year. We set it up so beautifully, and then we had 4 years of horror. We had 4 years of disgusting horror, open borders, and things that nobody would even think of. You wouldn't even think of. 25 million people poured into our country, and we've gotten a lot of them out, but we have a lot more to go. 11,888 murderers came into our country.
Damn.
People came in from all over the world, from prisons and gangs, gang members, drug dealers, people from mental institutions, insane asylums. That's the mental institution times 2. And what they allowed to happen to our country can never be allowed to happen again, and it won't. With Mark Wayne, we have somebody that's strong, professional, and fair. As you know, the department that Mark Wayne takes over today is currently shut down by radical left Democrat thugs in Congress who have blocked all funding for DHS because they're trying to shield illegal alien criminals, gang members. They want to protect them from being taken out of the country, drug dealers, murderers. They're protecting them all. I don't know how people can vote for these people. You know, I see the midterms are close. I don't know what close means, but I don't know how people can vote for them. You take a look, men, they want men to be able to play in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. Terrible, but that's the way it is. They don't want to give voter ID. They don't want voter ID for elections. They don't want proof of citizenship for elections. And then they get to vote. They do cheat, but I don't know, it's hard to believe they can cheat that much. Just in the past few days, we've seen the horrifying consequences of Democrats' deadly open border extremism. They want open borders, and they want to open the borders again if they have their chance, because they think they're going to get votes by doing that. On Thursday, a precious 18-year-old college student named Sheridan Gorman was shot and killed while she was walking in a park. She was just walking to the park, didn't do anything.
That's crazy.
The illegal alien monster charged with Sheridan's brutal murder had come illegally from Venezuela and been released into our country by Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. And I don't say that because I think he's fine. He's okay. I don't like him, dislike him. I talk about job performance. That's all I care about, job performance. Worst president in history.
That's
and
crazy.
Obama wasn't far behind, by the way.
That's crazy.
But he was then arrested and released again by Democrat governor, a real slob of a governor, J.B. Pritzker, in the sanctuary city of Chicago, which we could make safe in 2 months, I would say. 2 months if we sent in the group, Tom, right? 2 months would be good. 3 months, very good. 4 or 5 months, it would be great. But they would never call because they don't want to do that. All they have to do is call and ask for a little help. The Democrats in Congress do not care how much American blood they shed in their demented pursuit of open borders, from Sheridan Gorman to Jocelyn Nungary and Laken Riley. Their quest to flood our country with illegal aliens has left countless American victims in its wake. They never change, do they? They see what's happening. They never change. That's what they want. They want to get the votes. With sanctuary and sanctuary cities going at levels that they are, and we've ended a lot. We've done a lot. But for some reason, they love it. It's a sanctuary. You know, sanctuary cities are sanctuary it's really a sanctuary for criminals. With Secretary Mullen at DHS, we will continue our record-setting efforts to deport these illegal alien criminals from our country, and we are doing at record levels despite a very unfair court system, a radicalized left court system, and others that I'm not too fond of also. And we'll protect innocent American lives. Every single illegal migrant who is a criminal record must be deported immediately. If they have a criminal record, you got to deport them. And there's a lot that came in under Biden. And Kamala, the great border czar, Kamala, who never went to the border, never called Border Patrol. Never once called Border Patrol.
Everything.
Can you imagine that, Jim? She's the border czar. She never called Border Patrol. Explain that to me. He's the worst. She was as bad as he was. Going to give him IQ tests next week. Under the Trump administration, we've achieved unprecedented gains on public safety. Yesterday, we were in Memphis, Tennessee, to celebrate the steepest reduction in crime ever recorded. We've been there for about 5 months, and the numbers Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And thanks to our Memphis Safe Task, it's called Safe Task Force, alongside our efforts in Washington, D.C. And what we've done in Washington is amazing. We have Washington as a safe city now. It's been amazing. It's been, if you go back a year and a half, 2 years ago, Washington was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, let alone this country. And now we have a very safe city. And what they've done with all of the people working, many of the people standing right there, has been incredible. And now we're going to see all of our cities take a big step because of Mark Wayne. In 1 year, my administration, we've created the most secure border in the United States history and the largest drop in illegal immigration ever recorded, slashed the illegal fentanyl crossings on our border by 64%, and accomplished the largest decline in the murder rate in the history of our country, bringing it down to 1,900. That's before my father was born. My father was born a little bit after that. He wouldn't be happy mentioning this because he never liked talking about age. But he lived to be a ripe old age, but that's before my father was born. Think of it, 1,900, we have a record, 1,900. Murders last year were at the lowest level in 125 years. And we're making America safe again. We're doing it at levels that everything we're doing, we're making great. The border is great, the military is great. We're having, by the way, a tremendous success, as you know, in Iran. We had one in Venezuela, and now we're having one in Iran. They have no Navy left. They have no Air Force left. They have no anti-aircraft equipment left, no radar left, no leaders left. The leaders are all gone. Nobody knows who to talk to. But we're actually talking to the right people, and they want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. And we'll see what happens. I want to thank Pete Hegseth. The job you're doing over there is really incredible. You and the general and all of the other generals and colonels and captains and majors and everybody else, right? It's a perfect, amazing thing. We make the best military equipment in the world. Now we're going to make it faster. We want to get it faster, but we make the best in the world. We're doing a job. So I'd like to ask Attorney General Bondi to come and do the honors of swearing in a man who's going to do a phenomenal job.
You see this?
For a country, and I tell you, your family has to be very proud. You have to be very proud. Everybody wanted this job. I said, there's one man for this job, and I have no doubt he's going to be fantastic. Thank you, Pam. Come on over. Thank you.
Excuse me, y'all.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
Mark Wayne Mullen.
Mark Wayne Mullen.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And that I will bear true faith to allegiance and do the same.
And that I take this obligation freely.
And take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully.
And that I will well and faithfully.
Discharge the duties of the office.
Discharge the duties of the office.
On which I am about to enter.
Which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Secretary.
Hey.
Thank you. I think that was the most nervous I've ever been. I don't, it just seems surreal being in the Oval Office and having the President of the United States
I thought JD was going to get the
speak
job,
so
y'all.
highly of me and then recognize my family and know my family by name. It's humbling, and I never take it for granted, but I've made this very clear that I don't care what color your state is. I don't care if you're red or you're blue. At the end of the day, my job is to be Secretary of Homeland and to protect everybody the same, and we will do that. I'll fight every single day. Today I got the privilege of meeting so many of the employees at DHS. These employees have been there for 30 days without pay. And if you need anything
That's
to
another
know
level
their
right
dedication,
there.
to show up
Crazy.
and still protect the homeland that
That's
you and
crazy.
and joy
I thought
and
JD was
the
gonna get that
freedoms
job.
that we're
I
experiencing.
did.
They're working with for free because of political politics. That's all I need to know. I told them, if you're fighting 365 days, understand I'll be fighting 365 days beside you. No one's going to outwork me, and I'm not going to let any of them outwork me. The president has entrusted me with this, and failure is not an option. And so thank you so much, Mr. President, for this opportunity. I won't let you down.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, how old were you when you made your first million?
What is this for?
We're trying to get advice for the younger.
I love that expression. No one's going to outwork me. That's a wrestler's expression, isn't it? Huh? That's a good wrestler's expression. Yes, please.
Mr. President, will the Secretary's replacement in the Senate support the SAVE Act and the use of the talking filibuster to get it through?
The SAVE Act is not called this. It's called the Save America Act. There's a big difference because the SAVE Act, nobody knows what that means. Save America means Save America. And I can't speak for him, but I would imagine that Mark Wayne, I didn't even ask him the question because who wouldn't support it? Voter ID with a picture. You want citizenship, proof of citizenship. Ideally, you want to end mail-in ballots because there's tremendous corruption. Then we added a couple of things, Mark Wayne, like I don't think being a great athlete and having a family of great athletes, they have produced great athletes in this family, all-American wrestlers. They especially like wrestling, by the way. And what about baseball? You play baseball? Anything? They like wrestling. But I don't think that you would say that his family, and I don't know this for a fact, and I shouldn't say it because I could get myself. Does anybody in your family want men to play in women's sports? I don't think so, Jim, right? I don't think so. I don't think. How would they do? Would they do good wrestling you? They would be in trouble?
Shut the fuck
He said,
up,
yes, they'd
bro.
be in big trouble. It's so crazy. So that would be one. And then we have a few others that we call them the best of Trump. But if you look at transgender mutilization of children, we don't want that. It's the mutilization of children. We don't want that. So generally speaking, I think I can answer that Mark Wayne would be very much in favor of what I'm in favor of. Would you say that's right?
Yes.
I can't think of too many things. He might be worse. He might be worse than me. That's look at his wife is saying that's right. But so yeah, he's going to be great. Yeah.
Do you believe the Secretary will run DHS any differently than Kristi Noem did? What do you hope to see as his priorities?
Well, we had a good run. Look, we created the strongest border with the help of that man right there. Tom is so incredible, and he's going to be a big influence here, too. There's nobody more professional, nobody better. There's nobody better as a human being. You know, he looks tough, but he's got a good heart. Not too good. Don't make it too good.
But he got a good heart.
But, you know, we had Tom. We have the safest border we've ever had.
You can't say that,
We have a
though.
lot of
No.
assets, but a
I'm
lot
not
of things
agreeing with
we can do, and we're going to do. We have to get criminals out of our country
I'm not
that
agreeing
were
with
allowed
that
in by Biden. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, do you support what appears to be emerging agreement coming out of the Senate to reopen DHS?
Well, I'm going to look at it, and we're going to take a good hard look at it. I want to support Republicans, and, you know, sometimes it's awfully hard to get votes when you have Democrats that don't want to have voter ID. They don't want to have proof of citizenship. They don't want to do anything about men playing in women's sports. That's one of the items we put on, you know. And I did that just because it's so
Hell
popular.
yeah.
You know, they say that's at least an 80-20 issue. No, it's about a
too.
99-1. I don't think it's, what do you think?
That
Do
shit
you think
ain't
it's 80-20? Who's closer, 80-20 or 99-1?
99-1.
Yeah, I think 100 is really the, so, you know, so I support that, and I support common sense.
Would you be comfortable with a deal that involves separating ICE funding from the DHS funding package in order to reopen?
Well, they're working on all of that. You know, that's a detail that they'll explain later. Please.
Election integrity and DHS measures. Mr. President, since CISA falls under DHS, and given that many credible voices have raised concerns over its premature and possibly likely faulty 2020 election assessment,
Right about that.
will you and Secretary Mullen implement reforms at CISA and at DHS to ensure full confidence in future elections, like in the upcoming?
We'll talk about it, you know, pros and cons. Look, they used it to try and put me in prison, right? So I can't be thrilled with it. They used that very strongly, very illegally. The Democrats are thugs, and I don't want to say that. It would be nice to everyone
the
get along, but
Democrats
it's a
are
different
thugs.
country than it was years ago. It was very dangerous the way they used it. And they weaponized government. They used that to weaponize government. So
That's crazy.
I'm not thrilled, but I'll also go along with two groups of people, the military, and I think the military likes it, right? And I'll go along with the senators. I'm fine. But I was a big victim of it. Yeah, please.
Are you going to send Jared
Yes,
Kushner and
you.
Steve Witkoff to do direct negotiations with the Iranians?
Yeah, well, we're in negotiations, as it turned out, and now you've seen what I said yesterday was exactly correct. We're in negotiations right now. They're doing it along with Marco, JD. We have a number of people doing it, and the other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. And who wouldn't if you were there? Look, their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone,
Democrats like
their
you.
communications are gone. That's
Yes,
the biggest
it
problem.
is.
It's very hard to communicate
Beefing with them hard as a
between
mug, bro.
themselves. All of the anti-aircraft is gone. Most of their missiles are gone. We either shot them or they shot them and don't have them anymore. They're down to a trickle. They're pretty much everything they have is gone. I don't know. Can you name one thing that's not gone, or can you name one thing that's doing well? You know, if you read the papers, you think we're tied. You think we're in a tough battle. We are roaming free over Tehran, the city, Tehran, as opposed to Iran. We're roaming free. We can do whatever we want. And as you know, today we were going to have the privilege of shooting down a very big electric generation plant, one of the biggest in the world. And one shot to the right location ends the plant that collapses.
Man, that's Trump doing that.
And we held off based on the fact that we're negotiating.
Are you having trouble trying to keep up with your professor? You've got to try Otter. Here's how it works.
Yeah.
What do you think was the turning point to make you want to pursue a ceasefire? A few days ago, you said you wanted to continue bombing Iran. Now you want to pursue peace talks. Was there something
The
that
fact
happened?
that they're talking to us and they're talking sense. And remember, it all starts with they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Just, I said yesterday, they said, what are the top 10? I said, well, number 1, 2, and 3 is they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
How do you ensure they won't have a nuclear
Your
weapon?
former Border Patrol chief, Greg Bavino, said his only regret is that he didn't catch more illegal aliens. What's your reaction to
You didn't
that?
catch more.
Who said that?
Right, who said that?
Border Patrol chief, he just retired.
I mean, we captured a lot. They were allowed into the country by Sleepy Joe and that group of incompetent people that were, he was the worst president ever, the group of incompetent people. To me, that's the biggest scar. Inflation, they caused the highest inflation we've ever had. We've already gotten rid of it. The biggest scar is what they did, the people that they allowed from prisons all over the world. They came from the Congo, from all over South America. Rough people. Really tough people. So, no, I understand what he means.
Yes.
He would have liked to have
They go
captured
crazy
more.
over this old shit.
I'm not
Motherfucking
capturing so
gas
much as
prices
removing.
high as
We're
the mother,
removing
bro.
thousands of people.
Gas
And many are
prices high as
self-deporting
shit,
because
bro.
we're going after them. So
You can't even hop on the
powerful that they're
highway and go
self-deporting,
nowhere right
telling going
now.
back. I think that's one of the
It's
big
so
unkept
high.
secrets. We have thousands and thousands of people, and they're self-deporting. They're going back to where they came
Worst
from.
part is-
But what we want really is the
Yeah.
criminals. We're really focused
Yeah.
on those criminals getting them
You right about that.
Yeah.
It was.
Right now, the Democrats, and also to Americans that are stuck in airports, is really devastating watching it online because Democrats won't fund DHS.
What's devastating?
To Americans right now stuck in airports as we speak because Democrats won't
Well,
fund
they just
DHS.
they won't. Look, this is a deal that was done in the great big beautiful deal, which gave you the biggest tax cuts ever, including no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security for the seniors. Think of it, no tax on overtime, tax deductions when you buy a car, you take money, pay interest on the money, you deduct it. We've never had that for people buying cars, if it's an American car, only if it's an American car. But they are just they stick together, the Democrats. I tell you, I give them great credit for that. We have some that they're not good stickers. We have guys like
Man say,
Tom
give
Massey
credit for
in
that.
Congress, who's terrible. He's just terrible person. I call him Rand Paul Jr. But they don't vote. Rand Paul, rarely votes for stuff. likes me, says I'm a great president.
Oh, his head now, boy.
He said the other day, I'm a great president, one of the greatest presidents.
Nigga.
But I
I
said,
ain't
do
do
me a
that.
favor, vote for us and don't call me a great. I'd rather people that don't stick together, and those people hopefully will someday be gone. The thing I most respect about the Democrats, even on horrible policy, they stick together. What they do have, though, is horrible policy. Transgender for everyone, open borders, men and women's sports. They have the worst policy that you can imagine. And so whether they stick together or not, I mean, they have just this terrible policy. We have great policy. Republicans have great.
Common sense.
That's our biggest advantage, is our policy is correct. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, are you encouraging our allies in the Gulf to be more involved in the Iran operation?
Say it.
Are you encouraging our allies in the Gulf to be more involved in the Iran operation?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but more NATO. I think our Gulf allies have been pretty good, to be honest with you. UAE's been hit so hard.
He is a clown. Yes,
He got hit by 1,400 rockets, shot them all out of the air with our great Patriot missiles. Think of it, they shot 100 missiles at one of our aircraft carriers, the Abraham Lincoln, one of the biggest ships in the world,
missiles,
actually.
bro.
And out of 101 missiles shot, every single one of them was knocked down in the sea. Think of that. Think of what that means. 101 missiles, highly sophisticated, very fast missiles shot. Out of 101, all 101 were shot down, and now, for the most part, lie at the bottom of the sea. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. Our military is amazing, Pete. You know the attack I'm talking about recently? 101 shot. I said, wow. I saw that. You can see we have sort of pretty good equipment that we see. It's called the red line. Those red lines were thick, right? I said, that's a lot. And then we saw them one by one just get shot. And these guys that do the shooting, the coolest cucumbers ever. You know, most people, you don't have a lot of time. When a missile's going at 2,500 miles an hour, I don't care how far away it is, you don't have a lot of time. But I watched them sit down and think. Great students, MITs, a lot of MITs, a lot of guys like this, and not as much into the muscle as they are this one right here. And amazing to watch them perform under great pressure, because they have a matter of seconds to do it. If they don't do it properly, it's a big problem, you know, because these were powerful. These were very powerful missiles coming. And so a lot of people choke. They don't choke. These guys don't choke. They're the best in the world. We have the best in the world, yeah.
Wow, you said
What would be your message today to the TSA agents who have been staying home in recent days amid this impact?
Well, some of them are needing money, you know, because the Democrats cut off their money. I blame the Democrats more than anything else. But some of them, you know, they didn't get paid because they're not funded by the Democrats. This is a Democrat problem. In fact, I actually said to the Senate, why would you say this is a Democrat problem? I think the polls are showing it's a Democrat problem. And they'll do anything actually to hurt our country so they can try and win the midterms. And if we ever went back to our old policies, we wouldn't have a country left.
If they get a deal, Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, to fund all but enforcement operations of ICE, to get those TSA agents repaid and to open up the rest of the department, would you sign that?
Well, I don't want to comment until I see the deal, but as you know, they're negotiating a deal. I guess they're getting fairly close, but I think any deal they make, I'm pretty much not happy with it. These guys came in, they wouldn't pay people. You know, they had a deal to pay. They had to break their deal. The Democrats broke the deal that we had. It was all done. Everything was fine, and then they just said, well, we're not going to pay anymore.
You surprised me with all this. I ain't even lying.
They hurt our country. And at a very difficult time because, you know, we are at, as they would say, a war. They call it a war. I call it a military operation, a very successful one, like nobody's ever seen before. Hey, Venezuela was equally as successful. That was a great thing. No, the Democrats had a deal. It was a done deal. And then they said, well, we're not going to pay. And so a lot of people suffered over that and put our country in danger. You have another question? You haven't been here in a while.
Well, on Iran, can you give us any more sense of who exactly in Iran it is, either Whitcomb, Kushner, or others you're speaking with?
Yeah, we had, I hate to say this in front of these young people. They're not children. I spoke to most of them. They sound like adults to me, even though they are sort of children, right? They'll always be your children. But I hate to say it, but we killed all their leadership. And then they met to choose new leaders, and we killed all of them. And now we have a new group, and we can easily do that. But let's see how they turn out. We have really regime change. You know, this is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
What makes you trust them?
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you.
Damn it,
I mean,
that's
that's only because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I'd probably have more trust. But I don't trust anyone. Why do you say that? Why do you say what makes you trust? Do you think I trust them? I don't trust them.
Then why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related, and it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone, as the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum racked up pretty good, and everyone else was gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out, and the present, the gift they made to us was very significant, and they said they were going to do it, and it happened, and they're the only ones that could have done it. Jennifer?
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys.
Related to the Strait of Hormuz and the flow of...
Yeah, it was related to the flow and to the strait, yeah, it was.
Are you negotiating on who's going to control the strait from now on?
No, we'll have control of anything we want. Look, if we can end this without more lives being down, without knocking out $10 billion electric plants that are brand new and the apple of their eye, I'd like to be able to do that, you know. But they can't have certain things. I mean, you know the things. I don't have to go over the list, but again, it starts with no nuclear weapons, and they've agreed to that. There won't be any nuclear weapons. They're not going to have, and they're not going to have enrichment. Any of those things. But look, I hate to say that we're in a very good bargaining position, and I hate to say that they're defenseless because, you know, until that last missile is fired, they have little power. But we are in about the best bargaining position. We're way ahead of schedule. And again, they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no missile protection, and most of their missiles are gone. Most of their launchers we've killed. You know, we've killed about 82% of their launchers. So even if they had a missile, they can't launch it. We've been very effective. We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody even comes close. We have the best military equipment in the world. Go ahead.
On Saudi Arabia, there's been some reporting that you've been talking to the Crown Prince. Have you been focused on normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel?
Well, no, we have a great relationship with Saudi Arabia. What do you hear with Saudi Arabia?
Just hearing that you've been talking and that he has been encouraging you to do certain things related to Iran. Can you share?
Well, he's a warrior. He does. Yeah, he's a warrior. He's fighting with us, by the way. Saudi Arabia has been excellent, and UAE, excellent. And I will tell you, Qatar, incredible. Qatar took a hit, a pretty bad hit. Qatar is very close. You know, they're essentially, you can walk right over the border. Qatar took a hit. They've been great. They've been very strong. Kuwait, they had a little mishap. They shot down 3 planes with our missiles. They happen to be our planes. But the pilots made it. Can you imagine the pilots making it? The pilots saw what was coming. And they said, those are patriots. We're not going to escape patriots. And they got out of there pretty quick, Pete, right? Pretty amazing that they got out. The 3 pilots lived. They're fine. In fact, they're flying today.
Was the Kuwaitis that accidentally fired the missile?
Yeah, the Kuwaitis made a mistake. They fired. They thought they were firing at the enemy.
Huh?
It was, as the expression goes, friendly fire. But the pilots are great. They're flying today. Pretty amazing when you think of it. Yeah.
President Trump, on a human level, how hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out? Like as a human,
On what?
on a human level, not as the president of the United States. How hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out with Iran?
When America leads, America cures.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where...
You're talking about to end it? Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. You know, I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it.
It's crazy.
It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle. They're totally defeated. You know, we killed their Navy in, would you say 3 days, Pete? Gone. In fact, I was a little upset with Pete. I said, why didn't you save the ships? We could have used them, right? He said it's more fun shooting them down.
That's crazy.
But the Navy was wiped out in a very rapid order. Pretty impressive for you guys, you champion wrestlers, right? When you hear this stuff. But you don't, if you read the news, you don't hear this. You know, you read like, oh, they're doing wonderfully. They're doing terribly. They're wiped out militarily. They are dead. Yeah.
They are sense of a timeline. Do you want to get something done before the midterms?
Well, we'd like to see President Putin and President Zelensky sit down and make a deal. I think they're getting close, but I've been saying that for a while. I've settled 8 wars. All of them should have been more difficult than this one. This should have been the easiest one. But these are 2 people that truly hate each other. You'll find out that hatred is not good for making deals. These are people that don't like each other very much. Yeah.
I know you said there's a bunch of people from the administration who are negotiating with Iran. There's been reports that the vice president is leading those negotiations. Is that true?
Well, he's involved in them. JD is involved, and Marco's involved, and Jared Kushner's involved, very smart guy, and Steve Witkoff, smart guy, is involved. And I'm involved. I'm involved. Why? I'm going to be so big. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I'm the president of the United States, Tom. And I'm not going to talk about it. It's beneath me to talk about saving millions of lives, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about saving millions of lives. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. And if I didn't end the horrible Barack Hussein Obama Iran nuclear deal in my first administration, they would have had a nuclear weapon 3 or 4 years ago. They would have used it. I would have never gotten the chance probably to be president. Who knows what it would have been so devastating. And if we didn't send those beautiful B-2 bombers, they took them off my desk. They were right there. I don't know why. But if we didn't have those beautiful, the B-2 hit, which was we obliterated, despite CNN. CNN said, well, maybe the word obliteration said, no, we obliterated.
I know he is.
Just obliterated their
He got all us in the line of fire.
You would have had them having 2 weeks after that attack, had we not made the attack, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have absolutely used it. And they would have used it on the entire Middle East, including Israel. And you know why you see that? Because unexpectedly, when this war broke out, unexpectedly, they started sending missiles to UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and elsewhere. And nobody thought they were going to. Were you equally surprised by that, Pete?
Way more than we thought.
Pete, do you want to give about a 3-minute statement on how we're doing in this, as I call it, military operation? People don't like me using the word war, but so I won't. But the Democrats go to war. How about a little statement? I think he's done a very good job. Do we agree he's done a good job, Mark White? Can we take some of your time?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You're spot on. Never in history has a modern military, Iran had a modern military, a modern navy, a modern air force, modern air defenses, leadership, massive bunker. Never has a modern military been so rapidly and historically obliterated, defeated from day one with overwhelming firepower. The air campaign that we've conducted, that Israel's conducted alongside us, was one for the history books, truly. And it's because we have a president of the United States that when he sends his warfighters out to fight, he unties their hands to actually go out and close with and destroy the enemy as viciously as possible from moment one. And that's why we see ourselves as part of this negotiation as well. We negotiate with bombs.
My fault, y'all.
You have a choice as we loiter over the top of Tehran, as the president talked about your future. The president has made it clear that you will not have a nuclear weapon. The War Department agrees. Our job is to ensure that. And so we're keeping our hand on that throttle as long as it's hard as is necessary to ensure the interests of the United States of America are achieved on that battlefield. This is not Iraq and Afghanistan. This is not a president who's interested in vague end states. He's been very clear with us about what we need to accomplish, creating the conditions for them never to have a nuclear capability, and that's exactly what we're doing in historic fashion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Greg and I went on a vacation to Washington, D.C. I tripped over something.
Thank you. Great job. You know, the only two people that were quite disappointed, I don't want to say this, but I have to. I said, Pete and General Raisin Kane, I think this thing's going to be settled very soon. Here they go. Oh, that's too bad. Pete didn't want it to be settled. It's these guys are doing a great job. That's a good attitude, though, Tom, right? They were not interested in settlement. They were interested in just winning this thing. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you, just taking things locally, hopefully not doing international affairs for a second, do you support the construction of the 2nd Avenue subway in New York City and will your administration work?
That's really far out, Chris. You know, the 2nd Avenue subway has been under construction for, you're a young guy, is longer than you are old, okay? That's been under construction. I haven't heard about the 2nd Avenue subway in 20 years. What the hell kind of a question is that? I guess they got to get it finished. They spent trillions of dollars practically. No, they spent more money on that than on anything, I think, in the history of our city, in New York City. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's very sad, actually. The only thing maybe worse was Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, his train, I call it his train wreck because it's a wreck. That's been years. It's literally 30 times over budget. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And it doesn't go to San Francisco and Los Angeles like it was supposed to. They decided to cut it way short because there was no way they could finish it. But it's one of the worst. I've never seen anything like it. Other than the worst, the Federal Reserve building for almost $4 billion, little building that's going to cost a renovation for $4 billion, headed by our highly incompetent head of the Federal Reserve. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, would you be open, are you hoping to see the Senate pursue Reconciliation 2.0 to fund ICE and pass the Save America
Well,
Act?
we'll see about reconciliation. We're certainly talking about reconciliation, I think, Mark Wayne, right? Do you want to talk about that for a second? Now that he's working, we can get him to do this.
Thank you. Lindsey Graham, the chairman, where the reconciliation will funnel through, he is committed to making sure we get reconciliation through. If that is in some form with funding ICE, possibly backfilling from the One Big Beautiful Bill, but also more importantly, the Save America Act. There's a framework that we can do through reconciliation, paying for it, put some of the policies that cost money in, because there's nothing more important than the Save America Act. I mean, that's what the American people want. There's 80% of the population say they want only Americans voting, citizens that are registered to vote, citizens that have done it the right way. And I believe that everybody wants an election integrity. So fortunately, Lindsey Graham has said through reconciliation, he's willing to put the framework out for that.
And I think that was said so beautifully, so concisely, so well, your father, that we should let him have the last word, and that was it. That was the last word. Did he do a good job? Are you impressed with your father?
Never been more impressed with anybody in my life.
How about me? Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer. No, you like your father better, okay? Come here. Look at this guy. Come here. This guy, don't wrestle him. We'll steal over here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. I want to thank the family, because without the family, he's not here. You know, he's a different person. And that goes especially for Mom, who looks like she's about 22 years old. I don't know. I see these kids, but she looks very young. But it's a great couple. Congratulations to you both. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, it don't stop right here, y'all. We definitely got to keep it moving. Uncle Trump walking through every president's house. Let's go.
We have some wonderful people outside. We have some of the biggest politicians in America outside. And when they heard about Elvis, they said, we'll do that. So, how's the house doing? Good?
It's wonderful. It really is. It's, you know, Elvis, you know, wanted to live there forever. He's really the American dream. He was really an American. He made every American feel that they could have the things that he had. They gave them reason, and he actually made America great.
Yeah.
He really did. He gave people reason to feel that they deserve something, regardless of where they came from, regardless of who their parents were, regardless of anything. He gave them the belief that they could be anything they wanted to be.
And does his music sell better today than it did during his prime?
He actually, the estate makes more money today than it ever made while Elvis was alive, even when counting for inflation. Our new epic, which you really need to see, and hopefully you can in the White House, the new Baz Luhrmann epic biography, just incredible, broke all records for any, beat the Beatles, beat Led Zeppelin, any other music biography. So he's really as relevant or more relevant today than he's ever been.
You need to see it. Let's go see all these people. These are the biggest people in the country. There's our Attorney General in case you get in trouble. Would you help out Elvis? Elvis maybe, I don't know, gets a little bit of a pass. Not much. We're not allowed to give much of a pass. But he was great. You're a big fan of Elvis, Pamela.
My mother was, especially.
Elvis loved law enforcement. He actually donated a lot of money to law enforcement. He actually, he wanted a badge so badly that he threatened the Shelby County sheriff that if he didn't get a badge, he'd run against them to get the badge. So he has a collection of...
He would have been tough to beat.
Yes, we have a collection of over 200 badges in our collection.
Is Elvis beatable? What do you think? CNN would say no.
Have you been here before, Mr. President, or is this your first time?
I've never been here, no. I'm a big fan of Elvis. Who isn't, right? But I think he's great. I think his music is incredible. I understood his life. His life was, complicated, right? Yes. It was complicated. But he was terrific, sure. And he was born with a voice that he never lost, right?
Yes, exactly.
He had other difficulties, but he never lost the voice.
The last day.
Yeah.
And Graceland really is the fulfillment of a childhood promise one day that Elvis made to his parents to buy them a big house so that he could take care of them. And that's what Graceland represents.
Well, he loved his mom.
Yes.
So much. I think the father, but he really loved his mom. And
yes.
That man
I think when his mom went, it was very hard.
Funny as a mug, man.
And really, Graceland is probably the most positive thing that when foreigners come from all over the world, tens of millions of foreigners come to Graceland, it's what they really represent, the best of America, because Elvis really represented the best of America.
Well, you're getting a lot of publicity today with all of these. You have all the fake news media here. Look at this. I mean, you ever see so much? Do you get treated, tell me, does Elvis get treated better than me? Because with me, it's fake news. With Elvis, it was a little fake news too, I think.
I think in the UK we're about the same as you.
Oh, really?
So you have some from both. It's people want to. He was so revolutionary and so important that I think that brilliance people are afraid of, and I think people who are afraid of brilliance have to lash out.
Wow, it was special. Please.
We have a few more things over here I wanted to show you. So if you'll just come this way.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a portrait of Elvis that was done when he was in basic training in Fort Hood, Texas. And it shows you Elvis's natural hair color of blonde. He was born with blonde hair, blue eyes. He dyed his hair black because he thought it brought his facial features better out on film. And so he started doing that after his first movie, Love Me Tender. This is actually the oldest guitar in our collection. It's a 1956 Gibson J200. Elvis used it in the movies Loving You, Jailhouse Rock, and King Creole, and then used it in Vegas in '69 and '70. And then at the top of the stairs, we have the outfit that Elvis wears at the end of the '68 comeback special when he sang the song If I Can Dream, which was especially written for the show. After the assassination of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy, Elvis felt like he needed to make a statement of how America could be. And so that's what If I Can Dream represents. And he ended the show wearing that outfit right there.
So he loved this place, right?
He did. Yeah. And he loved his country. And yeah, everything you see in the
house he loved
original.
his country.
All the furnishings, all the drapes, everything that you see is original. The chandelier above the stairs was actually taken apart here in the hallway to be reassembled because it was too large to fit through any of the doors.
Oh.
Yeah. And then we're going to come this way. This would have been the master bedroom, the primary room in the house. You come on in. So this TV right here. TV right here, facing back this way. TV right here.
Come on,
Right behind us. Right behind
yeah, we're probably shooting that way. Apparently. Which way we should? Apparently this way. That's what I said. Come this way.
Back up 2 feet, please. Everyone back up 2 feet. Thank you. Everyone back up 2 feet.
You need to be
Yeah,
or down. Back or down. Give it to us farther.
We need to go back.
Yeah.
We have to back up 2 feet.
2 feet more, guys.
Keep backing up.
Everyone, please back up.
Sorry, Albert. Yeah, 2 feet there. Yep.
Yeah, behind
Seriously, let the visuals in front here.
behind the stanchion, which is behind Caitlin.
We good?
Deal Gillette versus set.
Serious dictation was driving me crazy, so I switched to whisper flow. Here's why I'll never go back.
Can you move?
Yeah. That's good.
She just wants you to pull the thing back so.
Also at the bedroom table, there's this big button table, so that it leaves the kitchen so it can be more free.
But EP?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that everybody would know that this was his helmet, so it's written all inside here. And then this blue hat was worn by Elvis when he came home from the Army. And it also was worn on his first television appearance, which happened to be on the Frank Sinatra special.
Oh.
So this is the invitation. Frank was hosting Elvis along with Sammy and Joey Bishop and Nancy. And what they did is they told Elvis what he missed the 2 years while he was in the Army. And I know you're a huge Frank fan, and Elvis is a huge music fan. So his music collection, which contains about 5,000 records, is mainly other artists. And one of the records I pulled for you to see today is Elvis's copy of Frank Sinatra's My Way.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It is.
That's a good one. Yeah, Frank was another one.
Yep.
It's a piece of work.
Yeah, Elvis and Frank were friends.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, at the end of the special, Elvis and Frank do a duet, and Frank sings Love Me Tender, and Elvis sings Witchcraft.
Oh.
So it was kind of fun.
Great.
Yeah, but there we have a security system here that Elvis had added to the property so he could actually see all the comings and goings around the house. And Lisa would say when the cameras would come on and the red light would come on, she'd go run and hide because she knew she was in trouble.
But he was just comfortable here. Right?
Yeah, this was his home. This no matter where he lived.
He always came back here.
Always came back to Memphis. And whenever he talked about Memphis, it was always home. And that's what this represents.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yep.
And now it's safe again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yep. So our next up, and this is a staircase that Elvis would come down to the kitchen. Yeah, so when he would come downstairs, he really wouldn't come down the main stairs. That's really formal for him. He would normally come down these stairs here into the kitchen.
That's terrific. He was something. He was something.
Yep.
Nobody like him.
So now we're going to the basement. Watch your step, please.
Okay.
There's lots of mirrors. It's a mirrored line stair.
Okay. Where are we going?
We're in position over here. These are where Ellie is.
Watch out, steps.
CNN TV only.
Ellie, right here? Yep.
News people pressing the plug, bro. They press this shit. God damn. They want all that information, you and me. They not playing. They want all that information.
You duck down, son.
Oh, you're leveled. You'll have a better view. You can see him coming down. My way, my friend.
Joe, want a funny story about the furniture here? Vernon, Elvis's dad, came home one day and said, I was at this furniture store and I saw the ugliest furniture I'd ever seen in my life. And Elvis went out and bought it. This is a true story.
What do you call this room?
The Jungle Room.
This is the jungle.
This is the Jungle Room. This has been, records have been recorded. Elvis loved spending time here. Lisa really loved spending time here. She actually, even as an adult, Angie, who's the archivist who's walking the president around, used to bring back this box. It was a box that Elvis took out on tour. It had his credit cards. It had a couple of crowns in it. And Lisa would go on the floor and she'd become a child again. It was really an amazing, really just an amazing thing to see. So this is the room with the most warmth, I think, the most family room of the whole house.
Have any presidents visited here before?
George Bush actually came here with the Prime Minister of Japan in 2008. And then you've had presidents before and after, but President Trump is only the second standing president to visit. We don't close the house down.
That's right. He said the jungle room.
Did you film any of the recent movies about Elvis?
No, there are parts and pieces filmed, but primarily the Baz Luhrmann movie was actually filmed in Australia.
Oh, really?
The little to known about that, because I was about to fly out, I get a phone call saying that don't go because Tom Hanks has some weird disease. And if you remember, the first famous person anyone knew had COVID was Tom Hanks in Australia, and he was actually there for the start of the Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie.
The jungle room. The jungle room. Did you like the movie? Did you like
Did
the
I
movie?
like the movie? I produced it, so happy.
I liked it then.
It was hard.
Still,
The first 8 times, not as much, but after it grew on me.
It's a great movie.
And then there's, if you haven't seen Epic, which was really, it took us 10 years to find all of this lost footage that was in a salt mine in Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
And Baz Luhrmann, and I was producing on this as well, just released 6-7 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's a concert film, above all concert films. And it was the highest grossing first week of a concert film ever. Beat the Beatles, beat Led Zeppelin, just an extraordinary film. I produced Elvis records as well. His every take of on the records is just perfect and amazing. And from, as the president rightly said, to his last day, he never lost any of his voice.
Here for the Koizumi visit?
No. Downstairs, they're looking at the television room, obviously, that again was made famous in the Paradise, in one of the Paradise episodes on Disney Plus streaming, as well as the pool room, which it took some incredible multiple football fields worth of fabric to do the design that they did.
So when Elvis bought Graceland, this set of stairs would have led to the outside. And this was a patio area. Yes. So this room was added to the house in 1964. And it's really, Elvis just called it his den. But when the press first saw it, they nicknamed it the Jungle Room for obvious reasons. The furniture is all hand-carved white pine wood, and it was made by a company called Whitco. And Elvis loved Hawaii, and his dad had said that he had seen the most awful furniture he'd ever seen. And so Elvis goes shopping that night and buys the entire set. And this is what it was. But Elvis liked it because it did remind him of Hawaii.
That's good, yeah. He did well with Hawaii.
And if you look up, you'll notice there's carpet on the ceiling, a 70s decorating trend that made this room acoustically sound.
Yeah, before his time.
And Elvis
He was
actually...
way before his time. Look, he put
He really was.
Carpet on the ceiling.
And Elvis actually used this room for recording. He recorded 2 albums from Elvis Presley Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee, and 6 songs from his last album in this room. And he would normally stand over there on that platform. That was kind of his stage. And then the band and all the singers and everybody would be here in the room while they were recording.
That's good.
Yeah. One of the songs he recorded here is a song called Hurt, and another one was Unchained Melody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So, and that's a stereo system, and Elvis's karate nickname was Tiger.
And you can see she loves Elvis. Well, she couldn't do what she does well, right?
She's the best
She's doing great. How long have you worked with
36 years.
What? Whoa.
We have people come from high school. We actually had some of your people who actually wanted to give us applications. They wanted to come to Graceland so
Yes.
much. It's an amazing place to be.
36 years. And he's been here a long time, I'll tell you.
Yep.
That's a lot of years,
Right.
Mo.
I've been,
That's
I've been developing.
That was crazy.
When I got here.
From a young man.
Yes.
From
Wow.
when he was a young man.
I ain't know that. I'm gonna Google that.
Do we all love Elvis? Media loves Elvis. It's a little different for you guys, right? You know, we're very political.
Not here.
And,
This is all
here,
fun.
but not here
And
because
Elvis
everyone
was not
loves Elvis.
political.
Yeah,
Well,
everyone loves
I think he
Elvis.
was political, but he kept it.
He kept it to himself. Yep, he did.
He believed, he felt very strongly in the office. He respected the office.
Of the
he
president.
respected law enforcement.
Yeah,
And that should be something that should be universal.
Yes, no matter who. Yep.
Any questions about Elvis, media? You like to
What's your
have?
favorite song, sir, of Elvis's?
Well, she just mentioned one of them, "Hurt." Hurt's great, right?
It is.
Isn't
It is very
He's-
good.
He's got so many. There's very few I don't like. Actually,
Well, and
but he's got.
How Great Thou Art.
Yeah. Every one of them is. He made nothing. He did nothing bad.
Nope.
Elvis loved his gospel above all. Gospel was his favorite music.
What was his biggest selling song? What was his most successful song?
It's
With
Now
all-
or Never.
Oh, really?
That's one sold the most, yes.
Oh, that's good. I wouldn't say the best, but that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. They're all good.
I also have a few pieces here. So this, this is Elvis's Social Security card that we found in his wallet. So the gold medal Social Security cards were not officially issued by the government, but they were a novelty item that you could actually buy then, because the paper ones that people would carry around with them would get messed up. And so this was Elvis's.
Good idea. Maybe we should do that again.
And then,
Not a bad
Like a gold visa.
yeah. And then this is his bedside phone. It actually is gold plated.
I would like to hear some of those conversations, right?
Well, as you can see, it's
You heard what he
like
said.
it.
I like hearing some of those conversations.
It's very well worn.
Oh, yeah.
well
And
indeed.
it's been through the ringer. It has its little dings on it. But then this is actually the belt that Elvis got for shattering all the city's attendance records in Las Vegas. The belt buckle has sterling silver with diamonds, rubies, and sapphires in it. And he most notably wore this not only on and off stage, but he wore it in the Oval Office when he met President
Oh,
Nixon.
that's a very famous visit, actually.
Yes. Yep. And this guitar that you see here, this is actually a replica of a guitar that Elvis used in his 1973 Aloha from Hawaii concert. And I was wanting to know if you would sign it for us
Oh,
to keep for the
sure.
archives.
Wow,
So
that's
you can sit here if
That's
you
a
like.
big honor.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, this will be for the archives.
Sure.
There you go. There's a marker.
Okay. Where do you want me to sign that here?
You can sign it right here if you like.
Okay.
There you go.
It's a great honor. Love it. Has anyone tested this pen yet?
I think you're the first.
Should we just
Right
give
there.
me a piece of paper
I'm
just to
a
make sure
This, y'all.
at
get
what
a piece of
level
paper.
the ink is,
Yes.
right? It's a lot easier to do that way than ruin the guitar.
Exactly.
Okay, not bad. Okay, ready, everybody? Let's see here.
That guitar gonna be worth so much money. Now, it's really gonna be worth so
Oh.
much money now.
It came out good.
Oh my God, that joke gonna be worth so much money, bro. What?
You never know. These are hard to sign, but they came out pretty good.
Is that the first
What?
guitar you signed?
Just about. Now Biden couldn't do that.
Oh, you see that shit?
Send it out.
Oh, yeah,
You
shit,
sign.
bro.
Look at that. That came out nice. And what a beautiful guitar. Is this so? Did he play this guitar?
No, this is a replica one, but this is a replica of the one that he did play,
Yeah.
and the one that had the
Beautiful.
karate patch on it. Elvis had 2 8th degree black belts in karate. One was in Kenpo, and that's what this
Was
patch
he
is
really
for.
good, or was it just?
Actually, he was really good. He
Okay.
started practicing.
Could I have taken him in a fight?
I don't know. You might.
I think he would have been respectful enough to let you in.
Yes, he probably would.
But he and Bruce Lee really brought
Really?
karate. Yeah, he would have been. But he and Bruce Lee really brought karate to the West.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's good.
Yep.
It's very good. Well, Bruce Lee was pretty good, right? You having a good time, media? Everybody? It's interesting. It's a little bit different, yeah.
People make pilgrimages here from all around the world.
It is different.
Would
It's
you
different.
imagine someday in the very distant future, people making a similar pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago?
Well,
That motherfucker's good time gonna be worth
something I
millions.
could never say. You know, would it be
About a week.
terrible? It was, oh yes, so
No
yes.
bullshit.
Headlines, Trump, no, whatever. You know, whatever. That's a special place too. As you said, you know, in terms of people going to places, these are big, successful places. But this is all I know is, you know, I know that all my life I've heard about Graceland. I've watched Elvis. Surprisingly, you know, because I was around with Elvis, sort of in his semi-prime at least, right? And for some reason I didn't know him, but I knew just about everybody else. Knew all of them. But I don't know why with Elvis. He was a little bit locked into Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, he was in Vegas a lot.
You know, but he was a very special guy. Everybody said what a good person. Yeah, he was just a good person with a complicated life.
The most famous person on the planet. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the most famous person on the planet. Let's see, who else would be more famous than Elvis? Nobody that I can think of. See? Anyway, but this is fun, and I want to thank you all. This is great. We appreciate it, and hopefully you're going to get a lot of additional fans coming out here because it's interesting to see. You learn about his personality, about Elvis's personality by seeing the way he lived. And I heard that he just wanted to be back here. He didn't want to be anywhere. He could have been anywhere. He could have been. I'll name some nice fancy places like Palm Beach. He could have been anywhere he wanted to be, but he wanted to be here.
Yes.
And he was a special guy. Thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you for
good
visiting
job.
us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Please see my hands up, please. Please follow me.
Thank you, press. Out the front door.
Thank you,
Thank you, press.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm tapping in.
National Guard, and you know where we need it to help out at the airports. But we're not going to let this happen. It's extortion by the Democrats. They're holding up money that's already been approved, and now they're willing to go $5 billion reduction in ICE in order to get the approval on a deal that they approved, the great big beautiful deal, which is the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. They want to basically renegotiate a deal that they already approved. And they're doing it largely for a criminal element. So also the Democrats are putting our country at great risk during this period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation. Their leaders during this time are, as you know, as you want to say, they're in a never land. Schumer is gone. I mean, he's a Palestinian. He should be fighting on the side of Palestine. He's actually become a Palestinian leader. I don't know. I've never seen a man change so much. He used to be pro-Israel. Now he's pro-Palestine. I've never seen anything like it. And, you know, he's worried he's going to lose his next election, which it only depends if anybody runs against him. If anybody runs against him, he'll lose. But he's gone very wacky and very dangerous for our country. But we want all of those things. We have to have them. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship as part of our funding. We want to merge them so that we can get the great, big, beautiful bill in action, and we can get the America and Save America. You know, they called it the SAVE Act, but nobody knew what the SAVE Act was. So I said, you have to call it, under any circumstances, you have to call it the Save America Act, because everybody knows what that is. So they want funding taken away from the ICE patriots who are responsible for getting rid of the criminals that Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, and his gang of thugs in the White House. You talk about weaponization. They weaponized everybody. You know, when Pam looks at somebody, oh, it's weaponization. They've indicted me. What they've done to me and everybody else, it's a disgrace. They're the weaponizers, and what they've done to people, can never let that happen again. We can never let them get away with it again. They are the greatest weaponizers. Fortunately, it didn't work because here I am with you. So it didn't work out too well. Didn't work out too well. But they want to have people come into our country. And so many of these people are murderers. They're drug dealers. They're the worst criminals anywhere in the world. They want them in our country. They don't want them to come out. They make it almost impossible, but we get them out anyway. They should have never been allowed to enter our sacred ground. These people should have never, they came from all over the world. They came from all over. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from all over South America, Asia, everywhere. And they were from jails and mental institutions. They were drug dealers. They were murderers. 11,888 murderers. In any event, the Democrats are being blamed by the American people for the catastrophe going on right now at our airports and at other points of transportation and beyond. And we want the public to know we're not going to let them out of this trap that they created for themselves. And I'm suggesting very strongly that the Republicans, in going for the Save America Act, that you weld it into exactly this, because voter ID is part of Homeland Security. Think of it. We're talking about two separate items, but they're really the same. Voter ID is part of Homeland Security. And citizenship, proof of citizenship, is part of Homeland Security. So I think it should be welded in. I think it should be together. You should vote together, because the public has not liked what they've done at the airports. And they've done it, and the public understands it. They've gotten wise to them. Republicans do not settle with Democrats and let them out of this hole that they've buried themselves in. You have to take the votes in the Senate to approve. You need votes to approve. We have to get Democrat votes. And at a certain point, if you could get rid of the filibuster, it would be great. It would be great. Get rid of the filibuster and get it all done. So we'll get it done. We want another thing. We can, or we don't have to, add those other items. And by the way, they say they're 80-20 items. They're not 80-20. They're 99-1. Men playing in women's sports is a 99-1. You look at transgender mutilization of our children, that's a 99-1. And we have that in the bill, too. So they won't sign it. Then let the people reject them. And what we have to do is we have to win the midterms. This is the most important election, because all of the gains that we've made, we built the greatest economy, the greatest military. I built the military in my first term, and we built the greatest military in the world. We're showing it now with Venezuela, with Iran. Everybody knows we have the greatest, most powerful military in the world. And we're in a position that we haven't seen. We're respected. You know, our country now is respected all over the world. A year and a half ago, we were a laughingstock. We were a laughingstock. The King of Saudi Arabia told me a year and a half ago, he said, "President, I can't believe what's happened to America. 1 year ago, you were a laughingstock. Nobody thought you could ever survive. Now you're the hottest country." He used that expression. He said, "Now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world." And we are now. Congratulations, because we're all partners in this deal. You're the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's really amazing. So I congratulate you. It's a great feeling, because we were laughed at for 4 years with this guy that should have never been president. So I'm tying Homeland Security into voter identification with picture and proof of citizenship in order to vote. And those two items are the most important thing having to do with Homeland Security. So it should be part of the Homeland Security bill. And I'm requesting that the Republican senators do that immediately. You don't have to take a fast vote. Don't worry about Easter going home. In fact, make this one for Jesus, okay? Make this one for Jesus.
He said, make this one for Jesus.
That would be a damn good thing. The most important part of Homeland Security is voter ID and proof of citizenship. Nobody can vote on Homeland Security without voter ID or proof of citizenship. And you can't have Homeland Security without voter ID or proof of citizenship. So we're tying them together. So now, if you don't mind, let's get to the reason why I'm in Memphis and why you're doing so well. Because Fred Smith, everybody know Fred Smith? He was a friend of mine, and he created, from a sort of failed report at like Harvard or whatever, he did a business report, a concept he had, that was his thesis, a concept he had to build a company, and it was FedEx. So he gave this thing where he takes packages, he delivers them. Who the heck knows what he put down? Bottom line is they gave him a lousy mark. I don't know if they passed him or not, but they didn't give him a good mark. They say, this is the most ridiculous business plan we've ever seen. Fred, go back to the drawing board and try something else, because this won't work. Well, he decided to go for it, and he built FedEx, and it's an amazing story. And he was a very good friend of mine, but he would tell me that he didn't know what to do about Memphis. It was so dangerous that they would have a board meeting, and the board members, they were demanded that they could not walk 1 block to their hotel. You know the hotel I'm talking about. It was so dangerous. And now they tell me this is like an entirely different place. It's like Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., we had the same thing, and now it's amazing. It's such an honor to. If only more governors, your governor called, and he said, we love it. Your mayor has been terrific. The mayor has been terrific. But look at the results that you've got. Look at the results. And everybody should do it. You know, if I was Chicago, Pritzker, he's a failed governor. All he has to do is say, President, we're having a problem in Chicago. Could you come in and fix it? We'd have it fixed in 2 months. It would be good. It would be good in 2 months. It would be great in 4 months. You'd have almost no crime. But he can't do it. And it just keeps going the same way. So that's the reason I'm here, to tell you how well you've done, how well we've done. I mean, I just came in and people greeted me, sir, thank you very much for what you've done. I said, oh, where are you from? Memphis. What did I do? You stopped crime. And your sheriffs are so thankful. And, oh, you haven't seen it yet. You know, we've just been here a short while. In another 2 or 3 months, you're going to have, like, no crime. And, you know, we take these criminals. Is that our handsome senator down there, Bill? Is that our handsome senator, Bill? You got both of them down, but you're going to have a new governor here soon, I guess, huh? You're going to have a very new governor. Would you two stand up as senators? Please stand up. Two of the greatest people. Two of the greatest people. They never let me down, you know? Some let me down. They never let me down. Thank you. Last September, my administration launched the initiative modeled on D.C. Safe Task Force in our nation's capital. One of the most amazing things, I mean, I hate to say it, now I can say it, but our nation's capital was one of the most dangerous places on earth. People were being killed. They'd go in from Iowa, they'd go from Indiana to see the Washington Monument, and their parents would get a phone call, they'd been killed. And it was happening a lot. It was really bad. And like this, actually, yours was at a level higher, to be honest with you. It was really bad. But it was happening a lot. And now you walk down Washington, it's like everybody that sees me in Washington, we've been doing that another couple of months longer. Everybody sees me in Washington, they say, thank you, sir. Thank you. And I immediately know what. You know, they can thank me for a lot of things. I said, are they thanking me for the economy? I know immediately. We have people working in the White House, young women. They walk, I would say normally beautiful young women. Ever since I got elected, I don't like to say that, because usually when you say a beautiful woman, isn't she beautiful? That's the end of your political career. So I never say that. But young women coming up to me and they're saying, sir, thank you so much. I know immediately what they're talking about. I say, how big a difference is it? They say, we walk to work. We were afraid to walk into an Uber. We were afraid to walk into a car. The car would be, it didn't matter. The car was being robbed when we were in the car. And it was much more than being robbed. Being robbed was the least of it. And we took out over 3,000 people. And you know, there's an expression that 90% of the crime is caused by 2% of the population. And when you hear that, you realize why we can do such a good job. We moved 3,000 people out, permanently out of Washington. These were career criminals. Many of them came in through the Biden open border disaster. They came in, they weren't there, they came in, they said, we want to live in Washington where they'll take good care of us, give us plenty of welfare. And we got them all out. We moved them back to their countries. Sometimes we'd put them in prison because they were so dangerous. We had one person who killed 4 people in a short period of time. Many of the people, 11,888, 50% of them in our country, they came from jails. Other countries opened their jails and let them into our country because Biden and his great border czar, the border czar who never once went to the border, never once called Border Patrol. But his great border, perhaps you've heard her, Kamala. Has anyone heard of Kamala? She was the border czar. That was like having nothing as a border czar. And they poured into our country and they made our country very, very unsafe. And the job that ICE and Border Patrol have done, they don't get the appreciation they deserve. They are great American patriots. They're incredible people.
Continue, America is going to be a nice place, a lawful place.
So we brought together 22 federal agencies, state and local police, and 1,500 members of the incredible National Guard to smash the grip of the violent criminals on this iconic American city. The city is incredible. People love it so much, but they're just fed up. They can't stay, and now they're staying. I had somebody backstage say, "Sir, I was ready to leave, and now we're staying." I said, "Don't worry, it's going to get much better. Just takes a little more time." Like our DC efforts, the Memphis Task Force has been led by our Director of U.S. Marshal Services, Gaddy Seralta, who is incredible. Who's Gaddy? Gaddy, you are unbelievable. And I want to thank you for the work. He did a job in Washington. So when I heard Memphis, I said, I want the same guy that did Washington. Because that went, you're going to tell us when you get up which was more difficult, all right? But members are known all over the world as the home of Graceland. You know I'm going to see Graceland after this? I think, is that right? I love Elvis. I never met Elvis. Everyone said, did you? I met them all. I met Sinatra. I knew all of them. I never met Elvis. Sometimes I feel I should tell the little fibs that I knew him well. I love Elvis, but I never met him. But I'm going to go see Graceland after this, I think. I'm sure it's not going to be a very long stay, but I want to see that. But for years prior to our involvement, Memphis had become known for something else, being the murder capital of the USA. That's not a good title. It was averaging far more than one murder per day,
in your home,
with a crime rate higher than Colombia, Mexico City, or Baghdad. In the year, I shouldn't be saying this, but here's the good news: it's been fixed. All right. I hate to say this because it's so negative. It's so negative. In the year before I took office, Memphis saw more than 12,500 violent assaults, 429 rapes, and 7,600 burglaries and armed robberies. And I mean, it was getting worse. This catastrophe was a result of years of local politicians, judges, and prosecutors who sided with violent criminals over law-abiding citizens. Basically, liberals, or now they like to go with the word progressives. You don't hear liberal. They're liberal. I don't like progressive because it's a beautiful word. You know, they use progressive because that's the only thing they're good at, politics, I guess. You know, they're bad at policy because all these policies are bad, but they're great at politics, and they do stick together. They stick together, they're good at politics, but they're bad at policy because they can't sell open borders, they can't sell transgender for everyone, they can't sell men and women's sport, so they can be the greatest politicians in the world, and that's why I'm here instead of them, I guess. But just as we have in D.C., here in Memphis, we've achieved one of the largest, fastest declines in violent crime ever recorded. So that's something, right? Ever recorded. In fact, you're half a percentage point away from the record, so we'll catch them in the next month or two, all right? I think that's going to happen. But that includes a 60% drop in robberies, a 74% drop in carjacking, and motor vehicle thefts. We have always achieved numbers that are good. These numbers are right on line to be among the best that we've done, and wherever we do this, we have very similar results. We were in New Orleans, where the governor called us, as you know, and we went to New Orleans. They just had Mardi Gras. They said it's the first, it sounds terrible, but it's the first Mardi Gras we've ever had where there was no murder. Can you imagine? Doesn't sound too good, but, you know, we're talking about the facts. And they said,
I'm tapping in, I'm tapping in, I'm tapping in. Thank y'all for tapping in Yo Cuz podcast. But that's it for the night. Y'all already know what Trump about to do or is doing or just making all the moves, man. Y'all know Trump don't play no games. That's why I show y'all what's going on so y'all won't be lost. You feel me? But thank y'all for sitting here watching the show with me. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow at the same time and we lit on the Yo Cuz podcast.